1, 2, 3, 4, New Year's Day, 5, 20,
From the BBC News
Valentine's
website,
Day,
dated
24th
of August,
New Year's Day,
2021.
12, Valentine's Day, 2022.
One person has been taken to hospital as fire crews tackled a large blaze which broke out at Edinburgh's George IV Bridge. Police Scotland closed several roads in the city's old town on Tuesday morning. The alarm was raised shortly after 6 a.m. by a cleaner at Edinburgh's Elephant House Cafe, where J.K. Rowling wrote sections of her Harry Potter books. It is believed the fire started in the Patisserie Valerie Cafe next door. The central library, which is on the street, will remain closed for the rest of the day. Elephant House owner David Taylor said the fire had not spread to the building, but it had suffered smoke and water damage. He told BBC Scotland, "I feel absolutely gutted about it. At best we can hope for opening in a few weeks' time, but if there is structural damage too, then it isn't bearable to think about." The cafe, which is popular with tourists and Harry Potter fans, had been returning to normal trading after Scotland recently lifted COVID restrictions. Mr. Taylor added, "It's really quite disturbing, because we had just got back to some semblance of normality after 2 years, although we were only running at about 50% of our festival trade." 9 fire engines and 2 specialist ladder vehicles were dispatched to the scene on Tuesday morning. The Scottish Ambulance Service was also in attendance. Rented flats above Patisserie Valerie were evacuated, and Candlemaker Row and Chambers Street were closed. The Oz Bar on Candlemaker Row, below Patisserie Valerie, also suffered water damage. Owner Tom Ponton said, "We've just refurbished the whole pub and we were back to doing very well again after 2 years. It's devastating. We've been told we have water damage in the bar, but we don't know to what extent." Lothian said all buses that travel along George IV have been diverted, including the 23 and the 27. Sightseeing bus tours are also being diverted. Adam McVeigh, City of Edinburgh Council's leader, said the local authority was working closely with the fire service and police. He said, "The road is likely to be closed for some time, and the central library closed for the remainder of the day while officers work. Thoughts with everyone involved." The cordon around the George IV Bridge site meant prisoners taken to nearby Edinburgh Sheriff Court were required to use the front entrance on Tuesday morning. Scottish Fire and Rescue Service spokesman said the blaze had affected a number of properties. A spokesman said operations control mobilised 9 appliances and 2 height vehicles. Crews are still in attendance. A Scottish Ambulance Service spokesman said, "We received a call at 06:39 on Tuesday to attend an incident at George IV Bridge in Edinburgh, with our first resource arriving on scene at 06:46. We dispatched 2 ambulances, 1 paramedic response unit, and our special operations team to the scene. We transported 1 patient to Edinburgh Royal Infirmary." From the BBC News website, dated 25th August 2021. Edinburgh's George IV Bridge fire. Footage shows fire damage inside Harry Potter Cafe. Footage has revealed the extent of fire damage inside an Edinburgh cafe where J.K. Rowling wrote sections of her Harry Potter books. The video shows fire, smoke and water damage caused to the Elephant House Cafe following a blaze on Tuesday. George IV Bridge and Candlemaker Row will remain closed for the foreseeable future, police have said. The blaze is thought to have started at Patisserie Valerie, which has a basement running under the cafe. The alarm was raised on Tuesday by a cleaner at the Elephant House Cafe, which is on ground level, next door to Patisserie Valerie. One person was taken to hospital and another was treated at the scene. The Scottish Fire and Rescue Service is now inspecting the structure of the building. Hotspots were still being dampened down in the early hours of Wednesday. Police are asking people to avoid the area. At the height of the fire, more than 60 firefighters tackled the blaze, which affected a number of properties. Bar Oars at the back of Patisserie Valerie on Candlemaker Row has suffered water damage. The Central Library and George IV Bridge will also remain shut on Wednesday. Elephant House owner David Taylor said the cleaner who alerted the emergency services had been incredible. He told BBC Scotland when she arrived, she saw smoke coming up through the floorboards and called 999. Mr. Taylor, who has owned the Independent Cafe for 25 years, said, "We thought yesterday that we would just have to deal with smoke and water damage, but having been allowed to take a quick look inside today, I can see that is not the case, and in fact, there is a lot of fire damage too. To say I'm devastated is an understatement. I think it will take months to rebuild, but it's hard to say." The Elephant House takes its name from hundreds of elephant paintings, chairs and objets d'art. I'm required here to tell you that the BBC news website, the broadcaster of record in this United Kingdom, has spelt the phrase objet d'art, object d'art. He said, "I think we will be able to salvage a lot of the elephants as the main cabinet is still intact, which holds them. Everyone has suffered over the last 2 years, and we had been having a half-decent festival, even although we were running at 50%. So to have suffered this fire is terrible." A Scottish Fire and Rescue Service spokesperson said, "And there you have the usual boilerplate description." From the BBC News website, Valentine's Day, dated 30th of September, 2021. A cafe table where J.K. Rowling wrote sections of her Harry Potter books has been salvaged from a huge fire which devastated the building. The blaze in Edinburgh's George IV Bridge last month badly damaged flats and businesses, including the Elephant House Cafe. The cafe's owner, David Taylor, said he was immensely relieved to find the table used by Rowling among the rubble. He said the table had suffered water and smoke damage, but would be restored. The Elephant House Cafe was one of 2 used regularly by Rowling when she was writing the stories of the boy wizard in the mid-90s. She wrote in the Elephant House Cafe in 1996 and 1997, after her first Harry Potter book was published, and often sat at the antique wooden table. The enduring popularity of the Harry Potter series has led to the Elephant House being a popular stop-off for fans of the series. But Mr. Taylor told BBC Scotland it will be about a year before he can reopen. It is believed the fire started at the Patisserie Valerie cafe next door, blah blah blah. Firefighter was taken to hospital following the blaze, flats were evacuated and the street was closed for a week. The front room of Elephant House was gutted in the blaze, and the back room, which included Rowling's table, was damaged by smoke and water Mr. Taylor said he had only just been allowed to enter the cafe because temporary internal structural work was being constructed to make it safe to be inside. He said, "Thankfully, I've found J.K. Rowling's table among the rubble, and although it is water and smoke damaged, it was in the back room, so it can be saved. It is going to the restorers on Thursday, and I'm just so relieved this bit of history has been retained." He said a valuable signed Harry Potter book was still missing. "There are piles of rubble everywhere, so I'm hoping it is under them," he said. "I've started the search." Mr. Taylor, who's owned the Independent Cafe for 25 years, said the J.K. Rowling table, which he bought in an antique shop, had been there since he opened. He said, "To be out of business for about a year is just devastating, and to say I'm upset is an understatement. It's very sad." The Elephant House takes its name from hundreds of elephant paintings, chairs, and objets d'art, which again the BBC have managed to fucking misspell. In July, J.K. Rowling told Simon Armitage on his podcast, The Poet Laureate Has Gone to His Shed, how she used to write in the now-defunct Nicholson's, which was co-owned by her brother-in-law, and the Elephant House. "That was a lovely space, with a really great view of the castle," she said. "I met the owner years later, and he said, 'You never come in anymore.' Rowling said, 'In a dream world I'd still go in there, but it is just not humanly possible to go in there anymore and write. I had to stop writing in cafes. I really loved it, but I just couldn't anymore.'" Yeah, that's what she sounds like. From the website Them, dated November 24, 2021. J.K. Rowling, whose mention is on Wikipedia, decries doxing. As many have pointed out, it seems difficult to dox someone who splits her time between two widely known historical monuments. Renowned TERF and occasional author, J.K. Rowling, has slammed a trio of activist actors for posting pictures of themselves protesting outside of her highly public estate, the address of which is readily available online. Rowling, who is known for penning transphobic rants, as well as some fantasy books, took to Twitter yesterday to claim that said activist actors carefully positioned themselves to ensure that her address was visible in the pictures they posted to social media, which have since been taken down. She gave her thanks to those who reported the image to Twitter support as well as to Police Scotland, and implored those people who retweeted the image with the address still visible, even if they did so in condemnation of these people's actions, to delete it. This is, again, despite the fact that both of Rowling's Edinburgh area residences are historical landmarks, one of which has a Wikipedia page, and the other of which would have been immediately obvious from the massive hedges surrounding it. She related the harrowing experience of having her publicly available address posted on Twitter to the doxings of a laundry list of renowned British TERFs. Notably, as editor Ali Capps pointed out, some of the figures Rowling listed have themselves been responsible for doxing trans people and their allies. Rowling, blah blah blah, and so on. So, the funniest thing about all this is that some of Rowling's more unhinged fans, when they heard about the burning of the Elephant House Cafe, seem to have decided that it was arson, and it was carried out by some kind of trans terrorist. Now, I think they might not be paying close enough attention to various things. In particular, I think they might not be paying a great deal of attention to recent developments for Rowling's charity, Lumos. Which charity seems to have its own way scouring orphanages which go down the and one of the projects Lumos is working on with our old friends at the well-known CIA front USAID is an effort to, and I really hope we aren't going to be interrupted by laughing at the back here, an effort carried out with USAID to try and prevent child trafficking in Haiti. I say again, working with an NGO to try and prevent child trafficking in Haiti. This is a poem called The Burning of the Elephants. Strictly protected, she'll tell you the story all came to her on a train. The owner will go to the papers, gush about saving the table, but whine his first edition can't be found. The cultists will claim it was arson. They have such quaint ideas, these people, of causality. The only place that got to print the legend on its legend, since her brother-in-law's property became a Chinese buffet, went on fire, they say round here, with knowing intonation. Like the School of Art. No word on Muriel's location this time, but the spark, they say, caught from the basement of the woman in room 4. Why don't you come on over? Said the paintings and statues of Indian animals, fetishised like Joanne's mensa, showing off like Maratha treasures plundered by the Royal Scots, sick of being implicated in her veneration, sick of queues of tourists, sick of chintzy white folks saying how exotic it all looked, oh how bohemian and quirky, longing for some peace and quiet. They rejoiced to burn. And if you're picking through the ashes and the rubble in the hope of finding footsteps or forensic spoor, a connection to the photographs retweeted from her door, you will not find them where your eyes and fingers scrabble. But there is a footprint here, which you cannot see the way fish don't see water. There are things that move in ways we see by implication only, that use people as their moving parts, and happen in a dozen or 100 spots at once. 80. Take a ruler, draw a line from here to her Barnton house, to Kilichassi. Plot the time. 85. Of course you can't. Some days you cannot see yet, since, to you, they haven't happened. New Year's Day, Valentine's Day, 2022, tick, tock, New Year's Day, Valentine's Day, 7/2022, 9, New Year's Day, 11, Valentine's Day.